Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Lot Pod, the Leeds Rhinos Lot 17A podcast, kindly sponsored by ACD&B, who are a design agency based in Farsley, Leeds. They create standout brands. If any companies out there need a brand new logo or a brand refresh, just get in touch with ACD&B. Thanks as always to them for supporting us with the podcast, with the fanzine, with any kind of help that we need. Thank you very much to them. It's a mailbag. We've decided to bring it back, and it's bursting. We've never had as good a reaction as we have for this when we kind of ask you, the listeners, the people watching the live streams, to interact with us. We've never had so many questions. I think it's a record or memory. So thank you very much. We are streaming live on YouTube as we record this. So if you do feel like you'd like to watch this back, if perhaps you're listening to it on Spotify or iTunes, you can, along with all of our previous match review panels, along with all our special guest interviews. They are all there on YouTube to watch back. Also, please do feel free, if you do have a YouTube account, subscribe to us. We'd like more subscribers as well. Joining me as always, my right-hand man, my co-host, Statman Reese. Reese, how are you?
I'm good. Leeds United nearly tried to ruin my day today. They pretty much did, to be honest. But I'm ecstatic. Oh, despite I'm a bit tired because, like I said to you earlier, not had much sleep because I was watching the heroic Jacksonville Jaguars. I've got my Jaguar hat here. Look. I can't have got on because I've got my headphones, but I've got my Jaguar hat here.
God, I bet that cost a fortune.
I don't know. Someone bought me it as a joke. But yeah, no, I'm pretty good, thank you. Pretty good.
So, what time did you wake up to watch the Jags? Sorry.
1 o'clock.
1 a.m. And it finished about 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a terrible game as well. So it was absolutely awful. It was the equivalent of playing against Catalan. You know how a team just tries to slow the game, destroy it down, and make it really just nitty gritty, and it makes it like a really boring game to watch. It was the equivalent of that.
Who were the playing, Reece?
We were playing Tennessee Titans, who are the Jags' biggest rivals.
Damn Titans!
But we beat that. We scored in the last sort of 4 or 5 minutes to win the game. But then obviously I'm then buzzing after that bit, trying to celebrate silently downstairs. But I can't go to bed after that. Like I'm so pumped and so excited. So I was at 5:30, just sat in bed going like this, going, well, I might as well get up.
We've spoke about it before, haven't we? About after Rhinos games where there's times where you can't sleep because of the adrenaline. I think it's sport in general, not just Leeds Rhinos.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Welcome to the Lot Pod mailbag, everybody. We'll just dive right in. Do feel free to leave us a comment if you are streaming this on YouTube. We have got the live chat available, so you can kind of react to us as we record. So, the first question on this bumper edition of the mailbag is from George.
George.
I can't, forgive me. I can't. George, possibly it is. I can't remember.
Okay.
Shall we pretend it is? No.
We'll pretend it is. Yeah.
No, and then the person who sent it will be like, you bastards. That's my question. It's from George. With no rugby league on during the off-season, what other sports do you all enjoy? Reese, you've kind of touched on
one,
yeah. There, the NFL. Any more for you?
Yeah, I can watch anything. I am just quite sad that I could go downstairs, put Sky Sports or BT Sports on and just watch it. The ones I actually take time out of my diary to go watch is the NFL, Rugby Union, especially the Six Nations coming up in next month. I don't really like football, but Leeds United is just a curse. So if Leeds are playing, I will watch them, which is depressing at the moment. But I love watching Aussie rules. Basketball I enjoy watching. Ice hockey I really enjoy watching. I know you've been to Leeds Nights, and I really want to go do that. And I think they're playing right now, actually. And the other thing I wrote down was the Olympics. I do love the Olympics. As in, I can watch absolutely anything that happens during the Olympics. Like, I'll quite happily watch the dressage for some stupid reason, like as a horse dancing. Like, I'll quite, because it's the Olympics, it's a novelty. I'll watch it. So yeah, dedicated wise is Union and NFL.
I think in terms of the Olympics, you can get engulfed in it, can't you? Really, like,
yeah. Well,
not so much myself.
On,
I do understand. Yes, I do understand, like, how, because it's, if you just sit there like on the sofa or whatever, and it's just on constantly and just takes you around each event, and it's just constant. Like, I just remember my granddad always watching it, and like within an hour he'd be like, "Oh, in 20 minutes, the rowing's on, and we have to beat Italy," and I'd just be like, "How do you know this?" Is like, I've just watched it for an hour, and I'm an expert, an armchair expert. But especially London 2012, I thought that engulfed everybody. That I felt,
it did.
That really did feel like special events, on that Super Saturday. So I do tend to flicker between that. I love football, as Reece says. Leeds United is a curse, but they're there, and we've always got them. We just have to grin our teeth and bear it. I love cricket.
Cricket! How could I forget about cricket? Sorry.
Absolutely love cricket. Obsessed with it, especially
Bri from Six Again is saying ski cross or snow cross at the Winter Olympics. Now, I have watched that. I enjoy skiing myself. Ski cross and snow cross is epic. I don't know have you seen it?
No, never.
It's a downhill race between 4 people where there's jumps, tight bends. It's obviously downhill, but it's just quite class and quite exciting. And there's lots of crashes, which is always good fun to watch.
But painful for those involved. Of course.
Yeah, but yeah. Laurie's just saying about the Olympics as well, saying that when Rhinos played Wakey away in a Monday, and a load of us were watching diving in a pub, like it was the most important thing ever. But that's exactly the point I was trying to prove. Like, I will quite happily sit there and cheer a horse dancing if it meant that Great Britain got gold.
Everybody watching, I can only assume, Tom Daly diving, this boozer going, "Get in!" Get in! Good dive. Good dive.
No idea.
I love cricket. I love boxing. I really do like boxing.
I've fallen out of love with boxing.
Really?
Yeah. Do you remember that there was the big hype train probably in the 8 years ago when all started off with those Carl Frock and what's his face fights when they did the Wembley one.
George.
Yeah. And then
George Groves.
Obviously Joshua came through after that as well. Like, there was a real sort of hype train around boxing, but I've just really struggled to get involved with it. Oh well. Yeah.
Have you? Not even like the British fights?
No.
No. Oh. Well,
don't know why.
I do. Absolutely love it. All of it. World level, elite level, everything. Are you doing your question next?
Oh, okay. Sorry, that was the structure we were meant to be doing, weren't we? Speaking of Laurie, then, Quincy's here. He's got 3 questions, as always, but we'll do one at a time.
As always. Good on Laurie.
We'll start with a New Year question. What's your New Year's resolution, Laurie?
Well, I stuck to one years ago when I said that classic, "I'm not making them anymore." So,
did you?
For me, it's I'm not thinking. I've kind of really pigged out for like 3 weeks over Christmas. I know we all have, but I was just absolutely disgusting. McDonald's, Chinese, puddings, just everything, sugary drinks, sweets, everything, chocolate. I just shoved it all in. So since Boxing Day, I think, or whenever we did the last podcast, I've really slimmed down. So I think I'm going to try and get back to my fighting weight. So I'm on a bit of a diet. So I'll say New Year's resolution, eat less crap.
Who you got any? Who you fighting?
I'm going to fight...
Take Arno next time you shout him in the pod.
No, yeah. You see the size of him and me? He'll just whack me on top of the head. No, I'm fighting Truth Talking Maverick.
Oh yeah, I'd pay for that. Bloody hell, we'd sell out Headingley for that.
I'm fighting Mav. I'm going to fight Mav in a a paddling pool full of gravy, and we're both naked.
That went from
And
something
if you
I
sat there
wanted to
listening to
see.
this or watching, thinking you'd love to get a ringside ticket for that, I'm afraid they've sold out. But it will be streamed live on our league for £10 on pay-per-view.
£10, yeah. God, that's how much it costs. My New Year's resolution was nothing like that. I want to read a book a month. I'm not very good at reading. I'm good at no, I can read. Explain a lot, but I just don't pick up a book and read it. So I want to get some books read this year. It's a nice, simple one.
I genuinely thought, Reese, that you were just going to stop there then. Like, there was like a little cliffhanger. So you went, I want to read a book every month. I thought it was just going to be, I want to read a book. You never read a book?
Read a book. No.
A book a month?
I can't, honestly, last time I think I read a book was properly, probably last January, or maybe even before that.
Wow. That's a long time.
I read magazines and newspapers and stuff like that, and a lot of articles, and I do a lot of research on the internet for lots of things, but I never take the technology away and actually sit in and read a book. And I've got an old man chair now in my house, so I've got the perfect spot to do it. So
no excuses.
That was Lottie zipping up his jacket, by the way, for those that listen on Spotify later. That wasn't him taking his clothes off.
I thought everyone knew I recorded naked, covered in gravy. No, they didn't. Is there another one from Laurie? Sorry.
He's got 3, but you've got loads more than me, so you can go back to yours.
Next question is from Ronnie, Eddie, and Reese. Ronnie, first of all, Ronnie sent us this question prior to the United result today, which they managed to scrape a draw in the Cup, FA Cup against Cardiff. Ronnie says, Eddie and Reese, Leeds United, are they staying up? If not Jesse Marsh, then who would you like to see become the new manager? Reese?
I think we are staying up, but I think it's going to be the skin of our teeth. And that's only because there's there's only going to be, Southampton are pants. And they've got Nathan Jones. He's not exactly a world beater. I can't see. I know Forest won the other day, but I can't. I think there are 3 teams that are worse than us.
Who's the third? Bournemouth?
Bournemouth, probably. Yeah.
Those are the 3. Yeah.
So I just generally think there are 3 teams that are worse than us. Everton. I think I need Everton to pick up the odd win because I don't want Frank Lampard getting sacked because he is pants as well. If Jesse goes, and to be honest, as each game goes by, my tether with Leeds and United and the board and Marsh is getting shorter, I'd love Pochettino.
Do you think he'd come?
I think he would. I think we're big enough.
Really?
If he's not going to take over us if in the Championship.
Not about that.
If we have the ownership change with with that support and backing, I think we could get Poch.
I'm not sure about that. Are we staying up? No, we're not. We're going down. The only saving grace, as I've said before, is who the 3 amigos, the 3 idiots in charge, should they sack Jesse Marsh, which they won't. He'll get a lot longer than any other manager would because they just don't. They will not admit that they got it wrong, the appointment. So he'll get a lot longer than any other manager would. And then even when Marsh does go, we're reliant on the 3 idiots at the top appointing some. Who else would they get? Sean.
I wouldn't be surprised. It'd be Rene Maric, the assistant manager. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him.
Yeah, and then or Sean Dyche or Jurgen Klinsmann. It'll be someone who just fills you with even more dread than
Sean Dyche. Jesus,
it'd be like planning for the if it pulled someone like Sean Dyche, it'd be planning for the championship, which we're relegated anyway. But so it's such an awful position to be in because the one thing those 3 idiots got right was Marcelo, and then they kicked him in the nuts and said, "See you later." And you think they should have kept him. I'll never get over it. I'm never, ever, ever, ever in my life going to get over it. So I think we're going down. If not Jesse Marsh, I don't know, Ronnie. I don't know, but it fills me with complete dread. Me and Reese were talking about United earlier, texting each other, and Reese said, United are doing me head in. We need Rhinos back. We need a distraction. I think I do. I think I need to. I watched the game today, and that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. I should have listened to it on radio and just turned it off. Just take myself away from it because it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts.
I turned it off and I went for a run. That's how bad it was.
I did my run in the morning, but I should have. Next time, I'll plan it a lot better.
Right, so we're going to go to my question now. So I'll sticking in the theme of books, actually. Bry from Six Again has asked, what is the best rugby league book you've ever read?
Sean Long's book. I can't remember what it's called. I've got it upstairs. Can't remember what it's called. Sean Long's autobiography.
I can find that for you.
That's the best book I've read. Very frank. As I know, you have to say all cliches, but very frank, very open, very funny. And I think that a lot of those, not superstars to us, but perhaps, across sport, like I know Kev's releasing one, but you can see that being, maybe might shock us, but that could be a bit bland. And other characters, like I'd love to see JP do one, or a couple of us who've recently retired, get them to do I think JP's done one actually, but that Sean Long one really stands out, and it's one that I always recommend to people if, like this, if someone says any good rugby league book, Sean Long's. Can't remember what it's called. Have you got it up?
Booze, Brawls, Sex and Scandal.
Yep. That one. Excellent read. Have you got one, Reese?
I was reading a joke. I've only read one book. No, I've only ever read one rugby league book, and it's Rob Burrows. It's the only one that I have read. Now, I'm reading an article right now, which is about a book from Mike Rylance called The Forbidden Game, which sounds quite interesting. Rugby league in the French government during World War II. So I actually might get that one because that sounds really interesting. But yeah, the only one I've read is Rob's, which obviously is a fantastic read.
Two very good books there, and a good question. Ollie asks, what's the best TV show you have seen recently? What's that good, Reese?
I've got 3 down here because I kept answering. Wow. When we used to get this, we get this question coming round, and I think for the past couple of times, I keep just saying Stranger Things, but I think we've moved on from that now. So I've written 3. So His Dark Materials, we just started watching that.
Oh, nice! On BBC.
We started series 1. Yeah, we just finished series 1, and I really, really enjoyed that. And to be fair, it's got some of my favourite actors in. Like, I love James McAvoy; he's brilliant.
I do.
I also watched on Netflix Aftershock. It's about the earthquake and the avalanches at base camp. That's on Netflix. That's really, really good. And then I love All or Nothing, and I just finished the one on Michigan Wolverines, which is the college team. It's from a while ago.
College side.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see the college system and how things work in the NFL and stuff. So, NCAA as it's called. But yeah, so they're the best ones I've watched recently.
You can't go wrong with American sport documentaries. They do it impeccably. They just the way they showcase the sport, no matter what it is. I don't know. It kind of pulls you in. Kind of that F1 documentary that I think it was Netflix.
Drive to Survive.
That pulled a lot of people in. Not me, but people saying like they watched that and it kind of got them, kind of gave them the bug to watch F1. But you can't go wrong with an American, specifically sports documentary, because they do it so well. Me and Harriet have just finished Happy Valley Series 1 on the BBC, so we've got some catch up to do. We enjoyed that. I enjoyed 1889 on Netflix, but that's not getting renewed for a second series, which is really frustrating. Other than that, I haven't really watched much. It's just been sport, football, all across Christmas, really. But Happy Valley's good. It's available on the iPlayer. It's a gritty. It's set in like Hebden Bridge, Salby Bridge, all that way. It's good. It's really, really good.
Cool. Right, my turn. Stephen Hart has asked if you could swap out one player, like for like, position wise, with any other Super League team, who would you swap? I've got an answer for this straight away. So do you want me to go first?
Yeah,
I think our 1 weak point for the Rhinos at the moment is halfback.
definitely.
So I would swap out Aiden Caesar for Johnny Lomax at St. Helens.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's just there's quite a few questions actually about on this sort of ilk, and every time we've done it, I can only think about halfbacks because that's where I think that we really need improvement. But in Super League at the moment, I don't think it gets any better than Johnny Lomax.
No, it don't. I'll go. Since you've gone Lomax, I'll say Austin out, Brodie Croft in. If we could have Lomax and Croft,
that would just be a bit unfair, I think.
That would be amazing. But no, Johnny Lomax has probably been best player in the league since Danny Maguire retired, so it's quite some time. Yeah, I agree with that. That's a good question as well. But just touching on, since we have come to the Rhinos, we are at Leeds Rhinos podcast. I know we keep going about the halfbacks, this year, they are our biggest worry. One injury there. And like I said on the last pod, with Morgan Gannon, Cruz, Liam, and Jack Sinfield, we're going to see what those are made of. I think it's a bigger worry. And I think the club will be working on halfbacks for 2024 now, if not before then.
God, 2024, like Jesus, sorry.
It sounds like the future, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I remember talking in like 1993, saying like, imagine the year 2000. Wow. It seemed like everyone would be traveling around in like tubes and, we'd have hoverboards, everything, but no, not quite there yet. Kelly asks, after Headingley, of course, what is the best rugby league ground in the UK?
Well, you didn't put that front caveat bit when you sent me that question because I wrote down Headingley. Because for this, I think it has to be a proper rugby league ground. So your whole FC, that's a football. You can't say Wembley. You can't say Old Trafford.
Correct.
Not you would say Old Trafford because Lottie might punch a wall. I've written two down. I think St. Helens. I'm answering about St. Helens, but I think St. Helens Stadium is a really nice, smart, modern stadium. There's no gaps in the corners. I think it's a nice little stadium. But personal favourite, because it's proper, traditional, proper old school, is Cougar Park, Keighley. Proper old traditional rugby league ground. I'm not quite sure how that stand is standing. I drive past it every day and I go, oh. But yeah, I'm going to go Cougar Park just because it's proper old rugby league.
Yeah, I love that. But the correct answer is the Shea in Halifax.
I did have that on my list. I had that.
That's the correct answer. Love it.
I had the Shea, and I also had Craven Park actually because it always sounds like a good atmosphere and what they do there.
Got that mutual hatred of everything black and white as well.
Yeah,
and I agree. Yeah, the Shea for me, I love it. I absolutely love it. Easily my favourite away day, especially like when we 2016 we had him in qualifiers. Me all my friends went, I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. The worst is Castleford Kelly.
I was waiting for the dig to come in at some point.
I had to slide it in.
York's Sport has asked if you couldn't support the Rhinos and absolutely had to support another Super League team.
God.
Which would it be? Now, this has been answered by York Sport. He said he'd go with KR. Great history, lots of potentials, and still Yorkshire.
Yeah.
I don't think I can even comprehend the question, to be honest.
I thought initially the reason I was making those noises while you were speaking there, sorry about that, was I thought it said rugby league. So I was just going to jump straight on the Halifax thing and say Halifax because I love the shit.
It does say
I
Super
forgot
League.
it said Super League.
Because I was going to throw Keighley in because that technically is my local team. So, or local team now to where I live.
Super League team. As tough as it is, no, I think it would be KR. Quite a lot of ex-Leeds there. Obviously, Danny's there, so probably. You need to press it again. I think I've said him twice.
Have you said it twice? Sorry.
I think so. Probably KR. Yeah, probably say KR. Wakey in a close second.
I'm gonna cheat because technically new season hasn't started. I'm gonna say Toulouse.
Oh, yeah, Toulouse.
Because the new season's not started yet, so I can do other country.
Until the Super League table resets and all the teams are there. It is still.
If you go on Wikipedia and go on current NFL season, Toulouse are in that table, and we know Wikipedia is the foundation of truth.
Yeah, it's the foundation of fact. Everyone calls it.
Yeah.
What a good question. Luca asks, should Sean Wayne stay on as England head coach, Reese?
We've also
had this over this for the World Cup as well, didn't we?
We did, yeah. We've had this question from Ginny as well on this.
Yeah, it is pretty relevant because I believe the RFL are speaking this week or having a meeting to decide his future. So it's quite a hot topic again. Reese, how do you feel about Sean Wayne?
I just don't think he's had enough time. Like I didn't agree with some of his picks in the side, mainly McIlaurin. Yeah. But the guy's barely had any opportunity to play his side. He's had during the COVID years where he had to play against these all-star teams or whatever you want to call them. And he's had one World Cup where he's had no real opportunity to play against good opposition. So I think he deserves another cycle up until the next World Cup, and give him the opportunity because I don't think he's had the time yet.
I think he needs to go. I think he needs to go. You look at that World Cup draw that he's just had, and he couldn't even get to the final without playing New Zealand or Australia or Tonga. You know, I know he did play Samoa, but were the strongest Samoan side ever. But I think, as we said on the World Cup pods when we're reviewing all the World Cup games, you live and die by your choices. And I know he's not had much games and things, but that was his squad for that World Cup. That was his style of play. And I think the fact that he didn't get to the final with no Aussie or no Kiwis in that side of the draw, I think it's diabolical. But if Sean Wayne were to go, who would come in? To me, I think we spoke about this to Barry as well, saying that this is a part-time job. Am I right in saying that?
It is, especially now that they're having the Kiwis and the Aussies are not going to come over, or we haven't agreed on these test matches. So you're just going to play France once a year. So it is a part-time role now.
Definitely a part-time job.
Without that international calendar, there's not any games. This is what Bryce says. So do you think if Wayne gets told there aren't any games by the end of the year against Southern Hemisphere teams, he'll walk?
I don't think he would walk, Bry. I'll get Reese's thoughts in a moment, but to me, like, it seems it's the pinnacle of his career. I know he's a born and bred Wiganer, but he seems really passionate, almost to the point where during the World Cup, there were times where I thought he was getting emotional talking about England, you know, like his eyes were welling up because it means so much to him, which is understandable. And I think that he strikes me as the type who would never, walk away from his country. That's just how I read it. That's just how I read it. I don't know how you see it, Reese.
I would see him seeing out a contract.
Yeah.
For the England stuff. But yeah, I wouldn't see him. I wouldn't see him walk. I think it'd have to be a fairly good offer to convince him. Otherwise,
it could even be that if, like Bryce says there on the YouTube comment, There's no set calendar. There's no oppositions booked
There's
in.
no job. You're getting me
There's no,
redundant.
yeah, Wayne could actually say, right, well, why don't you meet me halfway? This is a part-time job, and then I take a head
Yeah.
coach job in Super League or whatever, NRL assistant or super whatever, to kind of when one pops up, so I can do both. You know.
Laurie's saying he's a Wiganer, so he's used to walking. He's not. He's not John Bateman.
The old Wigan walk.
Right, my turn to ask a question then. So John Shannon has asked, which game are you looking most forward to in 2023?
Weirdly, Magic, because it's the last one. Like, once IMG take the reins, they've kind of said, right, for the time being, focusing on elsewhere. Don't know if they're going to do something else, or we don't know. But it's the last Magic in the calendar. I'm definitely trying to go to it. They've been the last one up there, and it's very, 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 very early days. But I was kind of hoping we could do something similar to what we did at the grand final in terms of a lot pod meetup, but at Magic, where instead of going to that dump, we're actually in a place that's not as rubbish. It's all right, Newcastle. So kind of up there. So it's very, 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 very early stages, and it's a little fragment of an idea. But I think that would be something that appeals to me. So yeah, Magic. How about you, Reese?
Magic will be my first. I'm going to Magic this year. I've got be the first time and last time I've ever gone, actually. So I'm really looking forward to Magic myself. But I'm actually going to pick a non-Leeds game, and it's Keighley versus Bradford.
Yes.
Really old rivalry teams that hate each other. Keighley hate being reminded by the fact that they've got a BD postcode and all this sort of stuff. So, and Keighley look really strong, and Bradford have recruited well. So I think that could be a really tasty game.
Are you going to go down to that?
Yeah. No, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't clash with Leeds. But yeah, I'll be going to that.
Nice. Come on, Keighley.
Yeah.
Liam asks just quickly, Eddie, I cannot believe you don't enjoy the darts. I just don't, Liam. I'm sorry.
When it talked about other sports, I thought everyone else seems to be on about the darts and stuff, and I can watch it because I like a beer amongst the rest of them. And to be fair, I idolize darts professionals because they are athletes, and my body, resembles a darts professional. So, heroes. But no,
I just don't enjoy it, Liam. And to be honest, I just send that tweet out every year because, especially this year, because there was the big 9 dart in it and the leg and all that lot. And I get it. It were brilliant, but it's just not for me. And I just thought I have to send it every year. So I'll say it next year at the height of the World Championships. Everyone will say, "What are you talking about? You bald twat." It's great. No, I don't like it. I think it's boring. But again, like other sports, and I do understand that how monumental that leg was, and then the two almost getting Smith getting a 9 dart, but chasing each other down the 9 darts. I knew it was like groundbreaking, for the sport, but not for me. Nick says, when is the next fanzine out? Nick, it's going to be out for the first home game of the season, and then he quickly asks, are you going to create any more new badge designs? Yes, when I get round to it. So those are those quick questions. Joanna asks, what is the worst fashion trend ever, Reese?
do you remember that stage where people were wearing trousers down by the knees showing the boxers?
Yeah.
That. Everyone thinking they were playing Tony Hawk Skater. Back like they did in the Nintendo or whatever, walking around thinking there was some cool guy with the hat sideways. I mean, I wear a snapback and I wear it backwards, but I don't wear it sideways. So yeah, sideways hats and saggy pants is probably the best way to describe. That's how I wrote it down.
Yeah, saggy pants.
Yeah.
They were like I don't know. They looked really heavy, didn't they? Like they were almost getting dragged down. Like they couldn't.
They'd wear a belt and like they couldn't walk properly. But yeah, if you'd asked me a couple of months ago, I'd have said Crocs, but then I kept using someone else's Crocs at Christmas and they were really comfy. So
you're in the Croc gang. Yeah,
I've converted. I haven't bought any
the
yet.
rest of my family. I think flares will just stand out to the test of time, won't they? As being a bit belting, although they are kind of creeping back in. But I still look at them and think, not for me. But I am a 35-year-old dad of 3 kids, so I'm not. Anyone should not be asking me for fashion advice. I gave up on my looks in 2014. That's almost 10 years ago. So don't ask me for fashion advice. I'd say flares. I don't know. There's just something about them I always think. Not sure about them. But like when people like dress as goths, or I'm just like, yeah, you rock it. You go for it. That's you, and you're killing it. But like flares, just I don't know. They've never sat right with me. They never catch me in a.
I'm going to go back to one of Laurie's 3 questions. One of his questions is, what TV scene makes you laugh every single time?
Peep Show. The majority of Peep Show. But more specifically, the scene when, how can I describe this? Mark is seeing a girl that he used to know in high school, and he goes back to her house, but she's got a husband, and then the husband comes home and he has to hide in a wardrobe. It doesn't sound funny now, but anyone that's seen Peep Show, and the husband finds him in it, yeah, it's hilarious. So the majority of Peep Show has me in stitches. What else has me in stitches? The Thick of It with Malcolm Tucker. Unbelievable. More specifically on The Thick of It, when Malcolm finds out that Nicola has spoken to the Daily Mail journalist after telling her not to speak to the Daily Mail journalist, and he goes in the rage in the back of the taxi. Again, people thinking what you're talking about, but people who've seen The Thick of It will know the exact scene. So those, more specifically that scene, because when I'm on TikTok, I follow like 4 or 5 Thick of It accounts. Obviously, you get the clips, and like I can't watch clips of it when I'm in bed with Harriet because I just start having hysterics and she starts whacking me, telling me to shut up. So I do love The Thick of It. So Thick of It and Peep Show, pretty much any of those scenes. But then also, just one more before bringing Reese. Only Fools and Horses, when Rodney, more people will resonate with this, when Rodney buys the, is it lawnmower engines? Or does he buy one? He buys some. But then Del Boy he buys it with Mickey Pierce. Del Boy takes the mick out of him for buying them. And then they go to an auction or something, and Del Boy feels bad because they've wasted all the money. And Del Boy buys the lawnmower engines. I think it's like a lawnmower engine or something. Anyway, Del Boy feels bad, and he buys them to make Rodney and Mickey feel better. So it's like, right, I've done my big brother kind of, the gold medal. And then he goes back to talk to Rodney, or Rodney comes to him showing off saying, hey, Del, we sold all, I think lawnmower engines, I'm sure they are. We sold all those lawnmower engines. He says, oh, well done, Rodney. Wow, what are you doing with all your money? And he says, well, we've just bought like 500 more lawnmowers.
I've not seen any of these things that you're talking about, by the way.
Only Fools and Horses.
I've seen Only Fools and Horses, like elements of it, and TV.
Yes.
But I haven't watched it start to finish.
Oh, watch it! It's excellent. It's always on UK Gold.
Yeah, it's on something like that, isn't it?
What's yours, Reese?
I put down something from Max and Paddy's Road to Nowhere. The episode where they get the pig that turns out to be the wrong sex, but it just destroys the inside of the camper van, and Peter Kay just shouting "You dirty pig" to it, and it just makes me crack up. I mean, Peter Kay makes me laugh all the time. In fact, most of Max and Paddy and Phoenix Nights, I can watch it. 20-foot cock on, 10-foot cock on balls, man. Any of those scenes like that, it just cracks me up. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, the intro when they do the Backstreet Boys, where he makes the line up saying the Backstreet Boys and forgets that the woman next to him's brother was murdered. And Top Gear, like old Top Gear, I know Clarkson's a bit of a buffoon, but there's so many funny things on Top Gear that still makes me laugh every time. Like again, one when they made their own camper vans, and there was one where like Clarkson created a 3-story Citroen and he got on the motorway and it would just shake like that when he was driving down the motorway. Oh, when he tried to test the snow depth in Norway and he just kept diving into rock hard, solid snow. Like, just makes me crack up every time. There was the one where they were trying to praise British driving and they all had Leylands and he opened the door and only part of the door was still there. So the door was open, but the door was shut. And it just loads of... And then the one about James May's joke about don't go around unplugging Teslas because when people come back and the range says 2, it's not funny, but obviously it really is. But yeah, old Top Gear, I can just watch some of the funniest moments of that and just crack up.
Lots
that was my question.
Of TV choices there. Yeah. Adam asks, what's your drink of choice?
Beer.
A Negroni.
No, beer.
With Prosecco.
If I was going to pick one, it'd probably be Pinata, which are a mango and guava ale from North Brewing. But beer tends to be my thing, to be honest.
Stunning.
Yeah.
Iron Brew. I'd drink Iron Brew over anything in the world ever. Even when I did used to drink, Iron Brew is just amber nectar. I'm looking at a bottle now. Is amber nectar to me.
When I travelled New Zealand, my mate would make us go to a certain supermarket because they had an international section that sold Iron Brew, and we wouldn't be able to go to the other one. But yeah, in this international section, there was Timothy Taylor. You could get Timothy Taylor Landlord. And then right next to the bottle of Landlord was a big bottle of Iron Brew. The next to that were Yorkshire tea.
Yeah, Iron Brew. Cannot thank my mother enough for introducing me to the world of Iron Brew.
It's the one thing your mum introduced you to taught you in life. Sticking on drinks then. Bry's asking Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Pepsi
just... yeah, I'd say so. Although it is annoying, like when you go into a place and say, can I have a Coke? It's Pepsi, is that okay? Like you're going to say, ugh.
I like Pepsi.
No, it's not okay.
I prefer Pepsi. In fact, when I ask for a Pepsi and they say, no, we've only got Coke, I go,
ugh. Mel asks, obviously it's been Christmas recently, and I think it's off the back of that. Which is your favourite box of chocolates? Heroes,
box of
celebrations, roses, or Quality Street? Which one's your favourite out of those, really?
I thought it was chocolate, not chocolate box.
The whole box.
I
can't remember whichever one has Maltesers in. Is that Celebrations, the one that has Malteser? I think it is.
I think so.
Celebrations. I like Malteser's the best chocolate.
Whichever one's got the... Oh, no. I think mine's Quality Street. I think.
Really?
Yeah,
that's the worst one?
No, because it's... Oh, all right. Okay. I don't know. I think so. There's that one. Which one's got the signature truffle in it? I can't remember.
Roses?
Roses aren't bad. Yeah. Roses and Quality Street, I think, for me. I think.
Awesome.
Ginny is asking double headers for 2023, yes or no? Yep. Simple.
Yes.
Probably the easiest question to answer, Ginny, I think. Yeah.
Loads of them got announced today, didn't they? Is it the whole season? I didn't quite catch it.
There's
absolutely loads of double headers.
The first game of the season, I think. There's definitely a double header. Yeah, there's loads planned by the looks of things. Although it is... The double headers have to also take into account that the women do work. So obviously if the men's are kicking off at 8, women's kicking off at 6 on a Thursday night. There is, I think it needs to be chosen wisely which days they do it. But no,
at least they're getting paid now, though. So if they are missing a shift at work or however they work, they are
getting some form of payment.
The privilege of to represent. But yeah, all for it, Ginny. all for it. Bring it on. We've got a question later on in the mailbag about the ladies getting paid, but yeah, bring it on. More. I just wish, personally, I just at my own circumstances, I can't get to the games early enough to watch. I'll have to take a half day or two just so I can get to the ground enough, because I've yet to see, and I really want to witness it in front of my eyes. But yeah, all for it. Brilliant news. Ellie asks, do you think the future of how we watch sport could change anytime soon, Reese?
I was trying to think how to answer this. Like, I mean, as a fan of teams from around the world, it would be amazing if there was some sort of technology that can almost make almost place you in the stadium virtually somehow and witness it. But I don't think anything will ever replace going to a live game. It's just different. My mate's been in Jacksonville yesterday to watch that game, and it's just the difference of being there and being part of something like that is it's so different. I don't think anything will ever replace the feeling that live sport can generate.
No, I don't. I do think, I'm not sure when. Who asked that question? Sorry, Ellie. I'm not sure when. Like virtual reality stuff, if that's what you mean, that will come. You know, like Reed says, you will. I don't know. You might even get, I don't know, like a virtual season ticket. Right, stick with me. Where you get a virtual headset, you plonk that on your head, and you're sat, quote unquote, in your virtual season ticket at the game, and you just look around, and it's, who knows where technology is going to take us. Hopefully, I've always said, people around my age, we've kind of gone through the golden age of gaming. We've gone from like the SNES and Atari right through to like the 360 now, and the PS5 and the virtual reality stuff now. And I really want this. Have you seen the film Ready Player One? Seen that, Race?
No.
Spielberg film. It's essentially like, going on a bit of a tangent here, but you'd put a virtual headset and a suit on, and you're just immersed in a whole virtual reality world. And me and my friends always say, I don't want to die. Even if I'm like 70, I want to experience this ultimate. But so
They've
who knows? But if
NFL, they've got it for NFL. There's now a virtual reality where you put the virtual reality set on, and you are the quarterback, and you're in the virtual reality, and you are throwing the ball, and
it exists already.
Like, kind of, not to the extent that Ready Player One probably suggests, but there is a game like that. I was like, I've always wondered. Like, I mean, I don't really like FIFA, but like, could you be the player in FIFA with virtual reality and stuff? But I mean, obviously, your idea, patent pending, virtual season ticket, I wouldn't be surprised if that did become a thing at some point.
It could. I mean, who knows where tech's go? If that's what you mean, Ellie. If you just mean something on a smaller scale, like how it's watched, I think streaming is coming, and streaming's going to start with football. The next time the Sky deal, whenever that is, Sky, I think Sky fluked it a little bit because I think that deal came up around COVID, if I remember right, for the football, for the Premier League. The next time the Premier League rights are up, Amazon or Facebook or Google or whoever, Netflix, they are going to swallow. They are going to buy. I can assure you, you will not be watching football, Premier League football on Sky for much longer. You will not. They're going to get blown out the water by one streaming giant, and then whatever they do with it. But personally, everything now is on your phone. Everything is a clip. So what I think could happen is you might not even have to subscribe to the whole 90 minutes or the whole 80 minutes or the whole 4 quarters or whatever it is. You might just be able to subscribe to the last quarter or the second half. They could split it such, because everything's just, all content now is very small and on your phone. So if you could say, oh, pick my phone up, I'm watching the last quarter on this. So I think some kind of season ticket, but if that's what you mean. But yeah, I think the streaming stuff, the next time and I think the Premier League rights, they're like the foundation for everything else bleeds off that because they make so much money off it. So I think soon as the Premier League football's on a streaming network, the rest of sport will follow because they'll just say, right, this is the future. You don't need a Sky subscription. It's all streaming based.
Mm. Somehow I've got a question that can kind of follow that.
Wow.
Because of the other virtual season ticket thing. Bri asks, what is the one place you want to go and watch rugby league in the world?
Oh, I like the look. I can't remember it, but the New Zealand stadium,
Mount Smart.
Mount Smart.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was my answer
Mount Smart.
for a Tonga game.
Yeah. Tonga, New Zealand or something. Mount Smart.
Those photos and the videos and the atmosphere from that World Cup game was just ridiculous. So
yeah, unbelievable.
I think that's been my answer for quite a few things of rugby league games that I'd always want to go to. But yeah, definitely.
No interest in state of origin really. That's too Australian for me. I like watching it. I won't mind going, but it's not like I'd much rather see some like international, like maybe even Australia, New Zealand at Mount Smart. But yeah, Mount Smart to me looks amazing. That's definitely
I'd love there to be a point if rugby league internationally got big enough where you could do a final at the MCG in Melbourne.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to that stadium, 100,000 people. It's an awesome stadium. So if there was ever a point where there was a England-Australia World Cup final and you could fill a stadium like that, it would be great. Obviously, it's not going to happen.
It'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
That's the dream.
Lola asks, how fantastic was it to see York ladies start to pay their players, and what are the panel's thoughts on it, please? What did you make of that, Reece? It came out this week that York are paying their players too.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic for the women's game, and it's the right thing that should be doing because, again, as we mentioned, these ladies are normal, have normal jobs, 9 to 5. In theory, if they get a bad injury, it could affect their job and their normal life, which is it's just massive for them. So I think it's a great thing. My only worry is that if only so many teams can do it, and I think Rob Oates said this in our podcast with him, although we were the first people to start paying players. What worries me is that if only a select number of teams can play and some can't, then the competition in the league gets a bit saturated to that pool of people that can pay. But clubs need to lead the way, and Leeds and York are doing that. So I think it's a great start, and hopefully we can get to the point where the whole Super League, Women's Super League, is paid.
I agree. It was brilliant, Lola. It was great news, and we need more of the bigger sides to follow suit now. But then, having said that, it was incredibly embarrassing when Wigan was at the head coach position.
No, it was team manager. But Bry's saying they're going to play. They're going to pay the players now, and Saints are mulling it over. But yeah, Wigan could suppose they're going to pay, but they couldn't pay a full-time team manager job with a full job description, which was a bit shocking, wasn't it?
Embarrassing.
It was
embarrassing from Wigan, but they are embarrassing.
Yeah. We're good at tangents, so I'm going to throw an absolute tangent. Laurie's last question is: what animal makes the best meat?
Have you ever tried buffalo?
I was thinking about, where those go to those markets and there's always those world burger bars, and there's like doing ostrich and crocodile and kangaroo and stuff like that. I was thinking about that. I don't think I've had buffalo.
It's delicious. Buffalo's delicious. Kangaroo's okay.
Kangaroo was tangy.
Shark. I thought they were all right. Kangaroo steak. In fact, we got a kangaroo steaks from. What's it called? Iceland. The supermarket.
Yeah.
Not Iceland, but they've got that. What do they call it? Like the bigger version. Oh, what are they called? Food market. Iceland food market. They do them there. Anyway, if anyone wants kangaroo,
right, okay,
go there. I've had shark That's delicious. And I've had, what's the other weird thing I've had? Alligator. Delicious.
Yeah, I've had crocodile.
Really nice.
I've had a crocodile steak. For some,
Really
I
nice.
can't remember why. I've had kangaroo, ostrich.
Go on, sorry.
Go on. I'm going to sound really.
Stop listening in then.
I'm going to sound really boring, but I think lamb. I just think lamb is just so nice.
Yeah.
It's just so tasty.
We kind of I took it to an exotic place there. But
yeah, well, no, I wanted to do that.
Yeah, to be honest, right, and I'm just being honest here. Sorry for any veggies or vegans or anyone listening. I would eat any animal. I would try it. I would eat it. Someone said,
Right.
There's grilled, I don't know, think of an animal. There's grilled chameleon. I'll eat it. Or they said, there's a Komodo dragon steak. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to try it. I am. This is how we figured out what animals taste nice. And why did we stop there? That's the frustrating thing. Who knows what a Komodo dragon tastes like? The rump of a Komodo dragon. It could be delicious. We should not have stopped there. We should have branched out and ate more animals. Let's eat more animals.
We're going to get shut down by environmentalists now. If you don't see Lottie next week, he's being killed by spinach.
My question. Sorry. Dawdling there. Nicola asks, I'm trying to turn my best friend into a rugby league lover. What advice would the panel give to try showcase the game to a newbie? What advice would you give, Reese, to showcase rugby league?
I'd choose a good game, a good team at least to go watch first. So I'll steal Lottie's thing. Don't go to Cass. To be honest, it's a shame it's going. I think the best showcase is Magic, because you can dip in and out if you don't want to. You've got Newcastle there, but I don't know. I would say Magic Weekend. It's like when people say to me about the NFL, like, how do you like it? It's boring. It's all adverts. Like, have you watched it? Just pay for the ticket once and drag them to a game and just see. I think Magic's the best way to showcase it.
Yeah, that'll be my advice. Go more specifically, Nicola. Take them to Headingley, as in take them to Headingley, and then take them to Headingley Stadium, because there's a reason why it's the best stadium in the league by a million miles, because of the things that are around it. So you can go out for a meal, you can get drunk, you can jump on a bus or a taxi and be in Leeds within 5-10 minutes, depending on traffic and things. So even if you can almost have the rugby league element to it as like an addition, as a side. So you could say to this person, whoever this newbie is, why don't we go out, go to Headingley, have some drinks, book a table, have something to eat, go to the rugby and just let it all swallow up, and hope that from that they catch the bug. If that's where I'd start. But if you mean in terms of something for them to watch, like a game to watch or a fixture to watch, I'd start with the New Zealand-Australia game from the World Cup at Ellen Road. Yeah. That is the absolute pinnacle of our sport. So ask them to watch that. Did you enjoy that? Right, let's go see a game or either or, because if they do get the bug, they'll probably come to you or ask more questions to say, all right, well, who's a good player and, what's a good game? And then from there, they can just be engulfed, right? So, yeah, take them to a game, to a Rhinos game specifically, and watch that Kiwi-Australia game from this year's World Cup. Good starting point.
Definitely. Going live is much better than watching it on TV as well to get someone hooked. We've got a Rhinos question for you now, because again, as a gentle reminder, we are a Leeds Rhinos podcast.
Correct.
Is James Bentley, this is from Ginny, sorry, is Bentley in the Last Chance Saloon this season?
No. I don't think
Is
he
his
is.
contract up for
I
this
think,
year?
yeah, he's in the last year of his deal. I don't think it's Last Chance Saloon. Who asked? Sorry, Reese. I forgot the name.
Ginny.
No, I don't think it's Last Chance Saloon, Ginny. But I don't. I'll put it this way: I don't think James Bentley will be a Leeds player at the end of 2023 because I think he's going to go to the NRL. He'll get an NRL gig, and then we'll take it from there. He's kind of. I think he was flirting with the idea, and it's been muted before. That is kind of, or something in NRL press or a journal said something about what he wants the NRL deal, and I think it'll happen. I think he's of an age now where he'll go out there and give it a try. I think that's why we're squaring up to Victor Radley, see if he's got what it takes to play out there. What do you think, Reece? Do you think it's James Bentley's Last Chance Saloon? Or
No.
And add to that, sorry, do you think he'll be at the end of 23? Start 24.
It's definitely. I don't think it's his Last Chance Saloon. You know, his second half of the season was class. He does have his moments, like being in the England hotel and having a fight with Victor Radley, which I'm still not quite sure how happened. But I don't think he's in Last Chance Saloon. I certainly think he's got competition for places though with Martin, Gannon. You know, Leon Ruin played really well on that Boxing Day friendly. I'm not saying he's going to take his place straight away, but there's a pipeline of young players that will be fighting for those positions. I do think Leeds will offer him a deal. I just don't think it will be potentially one that interested him. Because if it's the length, I don't think Leeds are potentially willing to give a long-term deal. I think if at max it'd be another 2 year. So if someone from Super League offered him a 3 year, or even the thing is you don't really tend to see 3 year deals, do you? You either get these short-term deals or you get your big players like Harry Newmans, your Gannons, your Holroyds on, your young developing players or your best players on 4 year contracts. It does tend to be rolling 1 or 2 years. So I don't think if someone offered him more than 2 years, which I don't think Leeds would do, yeah, he could go at the end of the contract. But he's a Leeds lad, so he might choose to stay.
He is, and I think he'll be in an NRL shirt in 2024. I really do.
Probably
in terms
Newcastle
of Last Chance Saloon, possibly. In terms of Last Chance Saloon, I think Rowan kind of got hold of him like that towards whenever Rowan came in. I know he got the ban at Wakefield at home, but so I think, and the island stuff at the World, I don't know. I get the feeling that that's time away from Rowan. I'm giving Rowan a lot of respect in that sense, and I think when he's with us, same with Tatavano, he'll kind of say, right, you're not playing that way that you used to, or you do with Ireland. When you're under this banner, this badge, blue and amber, you're playing the way I want you to play. And I think, like Reece said, the back end of the year, he were awesome. We were on this podcast waxing lyrical. That's the James Bentley we want, and I think he'll go to the NRL. Frank says, hello, I'm a Fev Rovers fan coming in peace. Always enjoy listening and laughing along to the podcasts. The delusion makes for good listening once you get used to it. Plus, Eddie's castings always make me smile. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Frank. We're always, well, especially myself, I'm always good for the casting.
I'm guessing
the bits
that he's laughing at. The bits that he's laughing at is when you are doing your digs to Cass. And yes, the delusion does take some getting used to, even for me. When I came on as your co-host, that took some getting used to. But yeah,
nice. They said it was delusion, but we did get to the grand final, so
we did.
Call me deluded. Nathan asks, I'm still waiting for you to record my billionaire question podcast. We have spoken about loads, but there's loads of stuff we speak about, that never get round to. But it is intriguing, Nathan, and we just wanted to do it justice because Nathan originally asked us ages ago, if you were a multi-billionaire, would you buy Super League? What would you do with rugby league, etc.? But that's a podcast. That's not. It was a good idea for the podcast, but
structure.
Yeah. We will do it one day, Nathan. I promise. Just stick with us. Tyler's back with a music question. Good old Tyler. He used to pop up in the mailbag asking us a music question every week. He's back. And Tyler asks, who would make up your dream band lineup, Reese? Dream band lineup.
So I've taken this question as people that would make up your dream band from music history.
Yes.
Now, my band is not going to make any sense. It's, when you go to those restaurants when it's like French, Chinese, Ethiopian fusion, and somehow it doesn't work on paper, but it could work in real life when you have that first bite. So we'll go through the whole band. And I've written it down because I've prepared for this. On drums, I've got Dave Grohl.
Nice.
Classic drummer from Nirvana, great singer. Guitar or lead guitar, it's just going to have to be Brian May, one of Britain's best ever guitarists. On bass, now this is where the fusion starts to come in. Nile Rodgers, because the bass he does his funky bass is class. Exactly. So
the
fusion
the bass as good as him.
The fusion builds there. My singer would actually be Brandon Flowers from The Killers. I think he's a great singer.
Wow.
He did a cover of Fame on the Live Lounge from David Bowie, and he does it. He nails it. I loved it when he did the Pet Shop Boys at Glastonbury. I really like Brandon. I think he's a good showman as well. And then for the more mellow, slow moments of the band, I'd have Chris Martin on piano.
That is a super band.
Yeah,
that is a super band. I'll have Keith Moon on drums because there has been no one better than Keith Moon on drums. Maybe I don't know. No, yeah, Keith Moon on drums, Joe Strummer on rhythm guitar, and then gonna have Raoul Reynolds from Enter Shikari on whatever it is that Enter Shikari play, keyboards, all that noise that they make. And I'm then gonna have but I've got like 3 singers. So obviously Strummer can sing, Raoul can sing, and Max Bemis from the band called Say Anything. He's a singer and lyricist in Say Anything. So those 3 would just take it in turns in writing amazing lyrics and performing amazing music. That would be my dream lineup for my band.
You said before this
podcast,
you said before this podcast you were just going to say The Clash.
Well, you do not get better than The Clash. That is the dream lineup. So that was a boring answer. But anyone that doesn't agree hasn't listened to The Clash because they just are the best ever.
Right, I'm going to go back to Rhino's question. We've got one from John Shannon here. Which team member would you hate to room with?
It would have been Brad Dwyer, not just in that because from like social media and Instagram and things, it does come across as a bit annoying, a bit like full on. But since Brad Dwyer's gone, I can't say him now. The worst route, probably Tetavano, because I think he'd just
kill you.
Yeah, spit in my eggs every morning.
I mean, I can't believe you've glared over the most obvious answer because he starts fights in hotels. Clearly, it's James Bentley.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be a nightmare in a hotel bar. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
James, you've had enough. Though? No, I am. James, you've had enough. No, I am. James.
Tell you what, though, if you walked into the hotel room and found out it was a double bed and they didn't have any other rooms available, one of the people I don't want to share with is Sam Lasone because the guy looks absolutely massive. There won't be any room. Yeah. Looks like an absolute unit.
So yours is Bentley?
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course it is. Is he nutter?
Of course. What a stupid question.
There's literally an example of him being a nutter in a hotel 3 months ago, if that.
I forgot about that. Completely forgot about that. Elliot asks, what do you think could be an easy way to get more media attention onto rugby league, Reece?
International rugby. There's a market that they just don't want to do. And
Correct.
after all the hype of the World Cup, the Aussie New Zealand semi-final, which everyone was watching, going, that was the pinnacle of the sport, and you don't build on it. International rugby is one way. I am intrigued about a big union star coming over at some point, either in NRL or in Super League. I think that would help us get more media coverage as well. But I think the one thing that we can control is international rugby. So that's the easy way.
Yeah,
but we won't.
I agree with that, Elliot. We won't do it. Can't bother with that. But I also think, again, Reece has touched on it. If we were, for instance, to get a real superstar like Owen Farrell, who probably is, Reece knows more than me, but probably is the biggest face or one of the biggest face in rugby union, almost instantly recognisable. If Owen Farrell were to come to play Super League, be it for Wigan or whoever, I think you can't leave it there. As in, you can't just say, here's Owen Farrell, and he does the press for that week, for that whatever, talks about it, and then you cannot leave it there. For me, should that happen, you have to have a documentary crew following him so that we get more media content from that, and we can say, right, this is Owen Farrell's journey into rugby league, and it's a 6, 7, 8-part documentary that's streamed or however weekly or however, so we can so the cameras stick and stay with him, so we get more media coverage. You could be on Channel 4 or something to say, right, how is he transitioning from league, from union into league, and build from that, because as much as people kind of, because there's always that like loggerheads of, oh, it's rugby union and we're rugby league and we don't like it, and that's fine, but you have to understand that rugby union is a much international in everything that comes with it. We need to kind of grab and claw onto any of that makes us look better. So if Owen Farrell were to come, we'd have to have a documentary crew with him and get him on telly often and say, right, this is a rugby league player. Similar to what's happened with Kev. Kevin Sinfield is on a trajectory that is to the moon. He's going sky high. He's broke through the ozone, but he's left rugby league behind. He completed rugby league and stood there and passed us the keys and dropped us the keys in our hand and says, I'm finished here. I've completed rugby league. And we just let him walk away. And rugby union said, come here. And now he's going to go to rugby union. This is going to happen. I promise you, this is going to happen. Kev will become a head coach of England, similar to Andy Farrell at Ireland. He will become a big, big deal in rugby union. And so much so, due to the media coverage and everything that comes with it, he will be forgotten as a rugby league man. I can assure you, his trajectory, his professionalism, he'll stay there. He'll smash it, and people will just forget. It'll be like, oh yeah, he did play rugby league, didn't he? In 10, 20 years, 30
Sean
years
Edwards
time.
Is your example of that. People in union don't even realise that Sean Edwards is a rugby league player. But because of what he's done in
the
rugby
exact same thing, I can promise everybody listening to this, watching this, the exact same thing is going to happen to Kevin, because he's so good at what he does and he leaves such a mark. He is an historic figure in rugby league, but he's going to be an historic figure in rugby union, and people will forget that he played rugby league.
Charlie's saying that he thinks union stars will come over if Featherstone come up, as Sean Long has his links with loads of them. Loads of them across a union, apparently.
It could happen, because obviously Sean Long did coach in union, so he might have seen a player or two there that he could entice over. And you know more than me, Reece, in terms of, it doesn't happen often though, does it? We're not getting these union converts coming over to play league.
Look at the examples we've had. We've had Luke Burrell. I think he came over, didn't he? We had, who did we have? He was a rugby league player. Kyle Eastman.
Kyle Eastman.
The examples at the moment aren't star-studded, and they haven't gone well. But yeah, in answer to the question, it's international rugby league. That's the way the game will grow.
Yes, it is.
Improvsky has asked, I'm in agreement with what Rowan is doing in regards to younger, hungry players that will fight to make a name over proven stars that will only decline over time. I agree you need senior members, but I think we will be surprised how well we go this year. The question is, are you guys? Well, obviously, a lot of y'all think we're winning every game and therefore every competition. But do you agree with Improvsky?
I do, and I think I did have my kind of doubts over these quote-unquote project signings, but you yourself, Reese, actually kind of changed my mind on that on the last pod, saying like we need the strength in depth. The squad's in a much better position than it was in previous years, and we've just got to trust Rowan to kind of polish these rocks and turn them into diamonds. And also, we've had so many duds, Conrad Hurl, Tatavano, and Borfaloon, and they've not done well at all. Even the type of NRL players that we've kind of took a chance on, recall Nathaniel Petteroo. I know King Vunivajar was now playing really well at Salford, but didn't get much of a chance here. So it's like even those NRL type players that we did sign and take that quarter spot that I'm obsessed with, it's like they're still not the finished article. So if you are doing that, I do get you can still do it, but to me, give a younger, hungrier championship player the chance to kind of prove themselves. It's one of those where it's not as big a hit on the cap, and because you've always got to juggle the cap, like Rowan says, it's an ongoing thing constantly, changes all the time. It's never ever static. It's always live. So it's like you've got to manage that as well, and it must just be a nightmare to think. Because, for instance, I think a bit of a tangent. Harry Newman. One of the reasons Harry Newman stayed with us when he was flirting with the NRL and union and things, I think we did a similar thing to what we did with Callum Watkins, in that we said, right, I think we've said to Harry, stay here now. I think it was a 2 or 3 year deal. Once that comes to its fruition, we're going to make you marquee. They're going to put the option there for you to be the marquee, and then whether he stays or goes. So it's like, would you rather have that kind of deal or Zane Tatavano? To me, it's a no-brainer, but I do agree. I do agree with Improvsky, but it's such the cap is always live, and it's who becomes available, and do you take that chance on him? Because when we signed Tatavano, I'm not going to put words in anyone's mouth. I said that's the pedigree we need. Previous winner with the Roosters, It hasn't worked out. Could Luke Hooley become something that we're not sure of? So I do agree with it, and yeah, I think the squad's in a better position than it was last year. But the biggest weak spot is the halves, easily.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing. Yeah, like you said, you've got to juggle the salary cap sport. There's minimal risk in it if they don't hit.
Yeah.
There will be hopefully hungrier, like you say, because they're coming up from the championship. They won't. They'll want to get they want to fight for a place in the squad. We shouldn't be a team that is signing old Super League players, 30-year-old Super League players on 1-year deals.
Yeah.
We should always be a team that is looking for growth potential and always thinking that next step, and also competing. So we don't sign players to survive. We sign players to develop and to continue to compete over a long period of time. So I really hope it works off, because I like the method. It's just whether it pays it. We'll see whether it pays off or not.
It will. Don't worry.
Will,
I can
sorry.
assure you. It will, and we're going to win. Speaking of Will, Will asks the next question. I enjoyed the new kits discussion on a recent podcast. I'm interested to know the panel's thoughts on ISC versus Oxen. Who have you preferred? Who have you preferred, Reese? Is it ISC? Is that right?
Yeah. I see.
It just didn't read right. Yeah, ISC or Oxen, Reese? Who have you preferred?
Well, it's quite hard to compare, isn't it? Because ISC were from 2008 to 2020, so we've only had Oxen for 2 full seasons.
Yeah.
So if I look at the kits that we've had the white one with the white blue with the 7 stripes. That was a sort of mediocre kit. Didn't like the silvery blue away kit of 2021. They hit big time on last year's home kit.
I don't think they'll top
massively. And I think that is the best kit for a long, long time. There's not many other kits in ISC's era.
2018 ISC home were good.
Yeah, I could be tempted to say Oxen purely based on that shirt from last year. But I actually think I'm probably going to go for ISC just purely because they've had more time. I think asked that question in 3 or 4 years. Obviously, when me and a lot of you are now doing this full time, we've got sponsors everywhere. We've even got our own full office studio in Headingley itself because we've been invited in by the club to formally run it. But ask us in 4 years' time if Oxen are still doing it, and you'll have a bit more of a greater comparison. But I don't have a problem with Oxen. I think they are doing some good stuff.
No, they are, and I think ISC did a good job. To be honest, I never felt we had a bad sponsorship with ISC. They always tend to be long-term deals in rugby league, so they were there for a long time. I never felt. Obviously, each supplier is always going to have, because it's an opinion-based thing. So each supplier is always going to have a dud, in your opinion. But I thought ISC did a good job. Oxen are in their really, really early stages. I think Oxen have kind of jumped on retro thing miles better than ISC did. I've been banging that drum online since 2018 about about the lack of retro looking jackets and t-shirts and actual shirts, and Oxen just they've done that now. They've released.
I bought a new one.
7 or 8 so far. Have you?
I bought the Millennium jersey. Speaking of vintage jersey,
nice.
You know, the 18, the one that said the Millennium one. It's got everyone's names written on it and stuff. Yeah, I bought that. Yeah. That was my Christmas present to myself because no one got me one. Sorry, tangent.
So I think Oxen have kind of got a lot in the bag already. No, they've only been here 2 years, I think it is 3 years. So having, well, like Reece says, we'll have to wait and see. Give it another 3-4 years, and you can probably weigh them up. But I do think Oxen are doing a good job. They do release a lot of stuff, and it does tend to get discounted quite quickly. But it's.
Do you know? I started getting the emails again. I started getting the 6 a.m. emails of the discounts, and it felt quite homely. I've missed them.
Yeah, we missed that.
I've missed waking up in the morning going,
like a warm hug.
Deal. Yeah, it was.
Warm hug and a pat on the back.
I just got so used to it. Yeah.
Like got bumping into an old friend.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So there's 2 questions very similar, so we'll do them both. So Pat has said, money is no object. If you could sign one player from the NRL and one from other Super League teams, who would it be? John Shan has also asked if you could welcome any. Oh no, it's a different question actually. Shut up. Oh no, it is. John Shannon says, if you could welcome any current player into the world into your club, who would it be? So any player from NRL and then one from Super League, which we've kind of already covered.
Nathan Cleary. That was easy. Best halfback in the world.
I had Munster, Moses, and Cleary written down. And I think probably.
Yeah, Nathan Cleary, without a doubt. Just from a Rhino's perspective, as we've discussed, we need a halfback, and Nathan Cleary would be
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And he's the youngest of those three I mentioned, isn't he?
I think so,
I
yeah.
think.
Is he?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, between him and
Yeah. So
Mum's,
if we did sign him now, we'd have longevity as well.
Well, that were easy.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, obviously, earlier we did say that. Obviously, similar question, swapping out Johnny Lomax from my perspective, because again, we need a halfback.
Yeah. Freddie asks, "What's the worst alcoholic drink you have ever tasted?"
I probably just Sambuca. I just don't like Sambuca.
Don't you like Sambuca?
No, I think it's horrible. I don't like. No, I could probably tell you the worst beer I've ever had because I do have an app where I check in my beers because that's how sad.
Of course it does.
Do you know what's more concerning about this said app is the number of beers that I've checked in. This is unique beers.
14,200.
1,249.
Wow. In 13 months. You're not an alcoholic.
I'm not. I don't think I am. Hang on. Sorry. Yeah, so Sambuca I hate. And there was a non-alcoholic beer from Aldi, which I actually gave 1 out of 5, which is the lowest score. So there we go. I know it's not quite alcohol, but that was really rubbish. But yeah, I can't stand Sambuca.
I used to love Sambuca. But the worst beer I've ever had was from a Brewdog. I don't know if it's exclusive. I was in Newcastle when I had it. I don't know if it's exclusive to there or if it's still there or whatever. It was called 5 a.m. Saint, and it was absolutely vile. It was like it looked black. I don't know what. Me and my friends that were there kind of looked at the board, and it were like 6%, 7%. We said, "Oh yeah, I'll have one of them." And it was disgusting. Honestly, genuinely tasted like someone had poured vinegar in like half lager, half vinegar. It was absolutely disgusting. 5 a.m. Saint, it was called. Vile.
That was your question, wasn't it? So I've got 2 questions left. How many have you got?
One.
Okay, so I've got 1 here.
Two.
Really
sorry. No, I've got 2.
Truth Talking Maverick has sent us a question. Will Leeds finish top half this season? Yes, Leeds United won't. Leeds Rhinos will. In fact, Leeds Rhinos will finish in front of Saints. Truth Talking Maverick. That's going to happen this year.
It is, and I'm going to beat him in the naked gravy fight as well, just to make things even worse for him this year. Tickets are available for the pay-per-view on our league, not available in person. Completely sold out.
£15 on the day, £10 pre-order.
£10 pre-order, yeah. So get watching. Will asks, of the new Super League signings, who are you most interested to see play, Reese?
Again, it's going to sound like I'm banging the same drum. If he stays fit, Tom Johnson at Catalan could be quite dangerous this year,
yeah.
I think. But it does rely on him staying fit.
Staying fit, yeah.
We weren't allowed to do Leeds players in this one, but I'm excited to see Liam Sutcliffe play at Hull, as long as he doesn't affect Leeds. But I liked Liam Sutcliffe, so I hope he does well there. But on Hull, I'm intrigued by Jake Clifford. If we say that Super League standard is nowhere near the NRL, obviously Jake hasn't played for the biggest teams in the NRL, but therefore, in theory, should hopefully do well for Hull in Super this year. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes for them, especially since they've lost Jake Connor. So they're the 2 that I wrote down.
Speaking of Jake Connor, he's one of mine. I'm interested to see how. I know he's injured for a couple of games, however long, but I'm interested to see how he'll go at Huddersfield with Tuilalohea. Both of them
Yeah.
kind of top of the assist charts. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. And I am, as I've always said before, I am a Jake Connor fan. I like him. I think he's like a maverick and like what the game needs in terms of characters and things. I can't remember his first. I think it's Tom Opacic at
Oh,
Hull KR, a centre
okay.
from centre from the Eels. Looks good. And again, at the time when they signed him, I was jealous. One of those, as I always say, I always weigh it up to like, would I want that person to sign for Leeds? And I would have. I think it'd been a great fit for us. So excited to see him. And as I've said before, I know that he played a couple of games last year, but I do believe that Matt Duffy for Warrington is going to rip Super League up. Get him in your fantasy teams because I believe his speed kills and he's full of it. As we've seen with Jai Field and Bevan French, I think Duffy is going to fall in line with those and just score tries for fun in this league. Last question. Wow,
So
we got there. What a bumper episode.
Hang on. We've got a last question each. So my last question is from Ian. It's our personal favourite of a question, this actually. If you could make a TV series about a key period in Leeds' history, either club or city, what would it cover? Who would play who? What would you choose as the title music? And it goes on to add that hopefully JJB and the creative powers at Leeds 2023 City of Culture team will listen in. And a great example of Loiners doing stuff for ourselves. So I've got 3 things written down for this one. I've thought long and hard over this. Do you want to go first or should I?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Okay. So one thing I did want to do was I think they could make a really great movie about Kevin Sinfield and Rob Burrow in terms of just their history as a Rhinos player and obviously then what Rob's had to go through and the support from Kevin. I think there's the ending hasn't been written of that story yet, but I think that would be an amazing movie. But I don't think that really hits the nail on the head about a key period about Leeds itself or the culture. So I'm going to go really boring here. As a history of Leeds, the Industrial Revolution, because there's loads of things of Leeds. It became a transport hub of all the canals, the train stations. We've got city status in 1898. You've got all the historical buildings like Kirkgate Market, Corn Exchange. So there must be some interesting history of the Industrial Revolution. But have you ever seen the Netflix program Somebody Feeds Phil?
No.
Okay, so this is actually probably shouldn't my question about the TV series earlier. Phil goes around the world just trying food in different cities and he just speaks to loads of different people and all the different cultures and what makes up that city. That just needs to happen for Leeds. Just going around Leeds, going into the Caribbean community, the West Indian community, maybe not going around to other certain parts of Leeds, but just speaking to all those involved, going to the murals with Bielsa, going to Headingley, going to just understand Leeds. I think that's the best thing to do from that perspective. So that's where I got anyway with that one.
Sophie Robinson's doing something similar. Food with Sophie. She could.
Yes, she is.
Part in that.
I mean, she could have a Netflix series. It'd be good.
Yeah, I'd watch it. In terms of the Rhinos period and it like becoming a film, I think like 2017. You can probably already imagine where I'm going with this. And Danny Maguire, like being like the old sheriff of the town. The old sheriff. He's looked after the town. He's been the hero of the town for decades. Looked after this town and made sure all the bad guys are put away in the cells. But there's a couple of new outlaws in town. These scruffs with 3 teeth from Castleford. They're there, and the city of Leeds. The city of Leeds is worried. It's worried. Who's gonna They're looking up to the sky with their arms in the air. Who will save us this time from this gang of outlaws with no teeth and they all stink? Who's going to save us now? And Sheriff Maguire says,
and in comes Cam Smith.
Sheriff Maguire says, I've still got it. I've still got it. You can doubt me all you want, but I've still got it. And I'll save the city of Leeds once more. And then, obviously, the grand final happens, and he cuts down every single leg from the Castleford Outlaws, cuts them all down in the prime, and says, "That's how you do it, kids." And just like the sheriff, or the cop in the film, where perhaps they take the badge off them, don't they, all the time? So, give me your badge, you're out of here. But this time, Danny Maguire gets his sheriff hat and just puts it down and says, "That's it. I'm out. I'm done. Done it." That'd be the best.
And series two will be in Hull.
No. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, that in series 2, it's a series now, or the sequel. He comes back to the town and kicks that town's ass 3 times, and then rides up into the sunset on his horse. That's my answer.
I love how seriously I took that question. Well, yeah, we've got the Market, you've got the old Leeds Central Station, all the history there, all that sort of stuff. Actually, Bry from 6 Again is saying, is Eddie telling the kids bedtime story again? That should be on CBBS. I quite enjoyed that. That would send me to sleep.
I'm available. If the BBC want me to read a bedtime story, that specific one, about Sheriff Maguire, I'm available.
Just give him time to have a shower. Just give him time to have a shower after his gravy fight with Maverick.
No, that's in the summer. That's in the summer.
Oh, it's the summer.
I need to start training for that. Do you want to help me train, Reese?
I'm rubbish at fighting, so.
I do like
gravy. I do like gravy, so winner chicken dinner.
You can eat your dinner with gravy if you want.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Can you tell we've been doing this for 90 minutes now?
Yes, we've gone mad. Let's wrap it up. Last question from me is from Ant. And Ant asks, what Rugby League related social media accounts would you recommend people follow? 6 Again. Brian's been on. Brian's been interacting with this podcast. Does fantastic work. And I mean it. I know I say it all the time, but Brian really, really, really bangs the drum for Rugby League. And I don't just mean the men's game, the community game, the wheelchair game, the women's game, every single game you can imagine. Brian is there promoting it. Does loads and loads of good content on there. So 6 Again. Rugby League records throughout the World Cup was incredible. They've got an amazing, amazing website for anyone that's into stats and data. Rugby League records. These are on Twitter. Sorry, these are Twitter accounts. Are you coming in, Reese?
I was just saying I like.
Oh, you put your hand up for the data. Sorry. I thought you wanted to speak. Who else have we got? We've got Tryline. These are all on Twitter again. Sorry, Tryline, another great account, kind of banging the drum for all different types of rugby league. ZB Creative does lots of creative design, graphics, artwork. Again, brilliant from them. Amateur Rugby League shows a bit of a light-hearted 9 out of 10 times, like classic cliche rugby league shooting itself in the foot type stuff. I think that's quite funny. He Can Play For is another Twitter account where that person does loads of work to kind of and research to kind of show you each country and who could play for them. So for like Germany, whoever, they'll filter through who can play for them. So they do some amazing work as well. And I'd also kind of recommend Andrew Foster as well, because he does a lot of like. He's a Bradford fan for his sins, but he does like I don't know. I can't almost journalistic at times especially when it comes to people being held accountable, like stuff at Bradford and Ralph Rimmer. He really engages people, and I don't know. It tends to pull Twitter together at times, and yeah, it causes some good debate. Other than that's all non-Leeds stuff. Obviously, you've got Reese's page, Owl and Fleece on a Leeds front, Loiner's View, Leeds Rhinos newsroom. I think there's a Leeds Rhinos news as well. Rhinos Faithful. There's a real good Twitter type community on there, and it's feel good, and it's really enjoyable. Have you got any more to add to that, Reese, in terms of rugby league related social media?
I do actually, yeah. If you like
Oh wow!
jerseys, Jersey Spotter or RL Jersey Spotter is quite good. So quite Australian, but some of the kits are really good on there. NRL Physio is really interesting to follow because he sort of breaks down. He's a physiotherapist and injury analyst, but I just find it quite interesting some of the stuff that he says and just kind of helps you, especially with concussion stuff as well. I just find that quite interesting. There's rugby league analytics, so analytics rugby. Me and him some message and stuff, and he's got some really good stuff on Super League as well. So they're probably the ones that I would say to follow. Yeah, those probably obviously all the ones that Lottie mentioned as well.
There's loads, honestly, all on Twitter. Just kind of delve in. Just to wrap things up, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for engaging. This is the last Lot Pod until the Lee review, which is why it's a bumper one, an hour and almost 2 hours long. So it's kind of, you're not going to hear from us again until the Lee review. I've set some polls up on Twitter just quickly to get the listeners, people on Twitter's feelings on a couple of polls. Who should be captain for the Rhinos in 2023? The options were Leeming, Martin, Aledzki and Hanley. And Martin won comprehensively with 60%. Would you agree with that, Reese?
No. You don't. Just because, like, Martin is probably one of our best players. Obviously, he's not top three. I don't feel Martin's probably the best the vocal leadership wise. I personally haven't seen from a vocal side. He leads by playing, and just because he's one of our best players doesn't mean they're the best captains.
Right.
I think Cruz deserves another season. He sits in the middle as well, so he's involved in both the defense and the attack. There's no reason why Martin can't be a leader and be a captain of the pack or whatever. But I think Leeming deserves another year first. I mean, to be honest, long term, it'll be Gannon.
Yes, it will for 12, 14 years. The next Twitter poll question was, what is your favourite Rhino shirt for 2023? And the home shirt won really comprehensively. 71% for the home shirt. Do you agree with that, Reece?
Oh, I massively agree with that one. That away one is horrible.
I agree. And the last question was, are you a fully fledged member of the Church of Rowan, and do you trust him to lead us back to the promised land? And the options were, yes, I am. Of course I am. I bleed Rowan. And yes, I am, 64%. He will lead us to the promised land of winning every trophy in 2023. Reese, thanks as always. Thanks everybody for listening, for watching, for engaging. And we will be back with the Lot Pod match review for the Leeds review game friendly. See you then. Take care.